What up, y'all? Today I'm going to be showing you the carb swap that I did for my 1986 Honda Rebel 250. As you all know, if you run into issues with your carb, it is really hard to find replacements for the bike unless you get a rebuild kit. But in my case, I ordered a rebuild kit and I was missing something in my bike. Now, if you take a look here at my original carb, it was missing the float valve, the brass piece right there in the empty hole. It's now the first gen Honda Rebels, they come pressed in, so you cannot get that piece in a rebuild kit. Also, my carb was chipped, and you can see there's like JB Weld on it. The original owner was saying that it had like gas leaking problems, and that right there was the issue. No float valve. After seeing the carb in this condition, I was just like, it's just time to get a completely new carb. And unfortunately, this was after I did the rebuild kit, but totally fine. So let's get to the carb. As you can see, this is the Nibbi PE26. I'm showing you this specific carb, and I will link it in the bio because it fits perfectly in the intake manifold. So you don't have to go replacing and swapping that out in order for it to fit. Now, originally, I did order this adapter kit right here, so I didn't have to find another intake manifold, but this would allow me to screw in if the end of the carb was shaped like this, so it could perfectly link up with the stock OEM intake manifold that came on the bike. As you can see, there goes my air filter setup, and I'll show the other side in just a second on how that works. We are on the other side of the bike just to show you the air filter setup. Like I said, I did remove the air filter box. I have the original air filter gasket, so I'm able to run it through the bottom of the frame like original, and then just have the pod filter sitting right there to where it lines up with the carb. When you get this carb, it will be pushed over to the front a lot more, so whatever pod you try to get to put on the end of the carb is not going to fit because it's really tight. So that's why I kept the original air gasket, so I was able to get it to fit. Now the bike does run perfectly with no issues whatsoever. Now when you first get it, you will have to tune the carb. Everything works as it should. Now, originally my plan was to do this adapter setup for the carb install, because I thought the rim of the carb was gonna be like this. Most of the ones I've seen on YouTube were like this, but the carb that I found so happened to actually just fit perfectly on there, so I don't need this, but I will show this to other people so that you can order this, and I'll link it. But this adapter piece is allowing you to be able to run a carb that has this rim set up to fit on the stock air intake. I meant not the air intake, but the intake manifold on the bike. So I'll link this below as well. Hopefully this will help y'all out. I didn't have to use this, so I don't know how good it works, but it is out there and it does exist. All right, so looking at the carb right out of the box, as you can see, your air intake side 48 millimeter, and then your intake manifold side is 26 millimeter. So like I said, you should have no issues with hooking this up to your bike. Came clean, everything was well put together already, so you don't have to assemble it. Does come with a couple of extra jets for tuning purposes, and like I said, it fits great with the bike, and the bike does run well. Hope this helps. That's why I wanted to make this YouTube video, because most people who I've seen run the Nibbi carb had to do an intake manifold swap, but with this carb you will not need to do an intake manifold swap. Thanks for watching. Hopes this helps out. Peace.